So today I wanted to record this video because I had an amazing insight today, having come back from New Zealand, which has been wonderful, my first day back to reality in Hong Kong, and dealing with this whole outbreak of the coronavirus and the panic and everything that's going on currently. And it was a little bit like shell-shocking actually. So I noticed a couple of things, very poignant things today. I'd heard lots of stories from my friends who'd been here during the last few weeks and have said how people are getting desperate and they're doing strange things like buying up all the toilet roll and there's no more hand sanitizers left and people go crazy. And it made me think about how in times like this, people's true nature comes out, or people's desperate nature comes out. And it's a really sad side of humanity, as far as I can see, that you really kind of feel a bit, I felt pretty disgusted by the whole thing actually, of people just thinking about themselves, going out for themselves and not caring about others and not connecting to others. And, you know, at times like this, you can either feel separated or connected. And I'm going to explain that in a second, just according to an experience I had about an hour later, having this conversation. I went into the supermarket, and as I approached the cash desk, I saw 4 hand sanitizers at the desk for sale, and I smiled to myself internally, thinking that, oh, everyone's going crazy for these hand sanitizers. And a man walked up behind me and asked how much they were, and then proceeded to take all 4 with him into his trolley. And the lady behind me, who I happen to know as well, and I both turned around and said, why are you doing that? Why are you can't take 4 when everybody else needs them as well. If you take 4, there's going to be none left for anyone else. Not that I really wanted any and didn't need them anyway, but other people. And the guy just kind of went, oh, okay, and then sort of put 2 back. And it really led me to think about how crazy times make people do crazy things if you're not self-aware. You know, there's 2 ways you can go about this whole thing. You can either go with connection, which would be sharing and caring and looking out for your friends and sharing your toilet roll if need be, or there's separation. And when you feel separate from the mass, or you feel separate and isolated, or you step into fear because you're not connected to a greater whole, you're in isolation and you feel anxiety, fear, panic, and you do crazy things like think about yourself only and hog all 4 sanitizers or a flat full of toilet roll if it has to be that. So I was like, well, you know, I even got caught up in it, because had I been in my values and my non-judgment values, I probably wouldn't have said anything. But because I was so kind of caught up in the craziness of everything that's happening and the kind of sadness of how humanity can be when they think about themselves and only for themselves, my energy got caught up in it as well. And so I really thought about this and thought, you know what, in times like this, we've got to be really aware of how we think, how we behave, how we judge people, and how we conduct ourselves, because there's enough panic and everything going on anyway. And what we don't want to do is add to it and accelerate it. So I just thought I'd record that because it was kind of inspirational for me to see myself in relation to this whole coronavirus mayhem in Hong Kong after having come back from this paradise of end of the world New Zealand. So I hope that helped in any way, in some way, in case it did.